Welcome back to Visceral, and today I'm just going to talk about a few Spanish records that I received for Christmas. So this episode is a little bit different. Rather than just posting a video version of the podcast that we do and that you can find down below, or doing a review of a record that's come out, or even now you've seen we have a Elvis Dracula from the Drunken Draculas coming in to do kind of a DJ mix of some tunes. What I decided was I would just take a look at 4 different records that I received for Christmas. If you're like me, you have both very broad tastes, but also somewhat specialized taste in music. So if you have a family member who's interested in getting you a record or something like that, in a sense, they can buy me anything because I'm going to be interested in any type of music, especially if it's weird and something I haven't heard of. But it also means that, for example, my wife comes into this room here and takes a look at all the records. She'll recognize some of the bands, but she'll have a hard time figuring out, does he have this record? Does he want this record? I could show you my shelf in a moment, but it has, 15 Acid Mother's Temple records. I have a bunch of Ty Segall records, as you've seen with the review before. And that just can be a little daunting for someone. They don't want to necessarily buy you something that you already have. So the best bet for my wife is just to get me something totally random. And my wife is a Spanish speaker. She knows a decent amount about music from Mexico, or just, pop music that was in the Spanish world from the 70s and 80s, because that's what her parents would listen to, and that's what she would listen to. So thankfully, she's able to go into some dollar bins and pull out some pretty awesome gems, things she might know a little bit about, but she just knows these are going to be interesting records. Give it a shot. The first one of these records is a band called Los Panchos, and this is a Spanish band. They were active in the late 60s to the late 70s, and it's pretty much a straight up pop act with guitars. There's nothing bad about this record. In fact, I like all the songs on it. It's a pretty fun listen. Let's take a listen to one of the tracks now. Para ti, María Isabel. Coge tu sombrero y póntelo. Vamos a la playa, calienta el sol. Coge tu sombrero y póntelo. Vamos a la playa, calienta el sol. Shiribiribi, pom 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 pom. 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 This is one I couldn't find a whole lot about other than just the Spanish text that's on the record. But it's a musician, I think he's the leader of an orchestra or a dance music team called Fottal, and it's an orchestra, and they basically are playing a lot of dance numbers, something that would have been pretty common in the late 50s. When I look at my grandmother's music collection, for example, she'll have 25 records, all of this type of music. Not necessarily this is probably a little more Spanish than her tastes allow, but it'd be the kind of music that you could have at your house where you put on the record player when you have people over. That's what you would dance to. It is like just having dance music at your home. My father even has really fond memories of my grandparents inviting a lot of people over, other European immigrants who came over after the war, and they'd have dinner and some drinks, and then they'd have like a dance party at their house, and they'd put on that type of music. So let's take a listen. Next one I had never heard of before, but this is a Paraguayan act called Los Tres Paraguayos. I think I pronounced that correctly. And they just make some interesting music that has to do with some more traditional instruments that you might find in Paraguay or now in South America. But also it's kind of structured in kind of European pop. Guajira, Guantanamera, ándale mi negra. Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera. Guantanamera, ajá, Guajira, Guantanamera. Guantanamera. My favorite record of all 4 is this one. This is a band called Trio Los Panchos, and it says E Mariachis here. This is a pretty famous act. This is a band that they've made, it's got to be hundreds of records. If you were to go onto Discogs, you go to Wikipedia, and you just see the amount of releases this band put out in their life, it's pretty impressive. So this was clearly a really important recording act. I know that two of the members are originally from Mexico. One of them is from Puerto Rico. They all met in New York, and they just play lots and lots of different types of Spanish music, Latin music. You know, they would take music that was popular in English and bring it over into the Spanish language. And on this record, they just have a lot of kind of classic Mexican folk songs, ones that I've heard done many, many times over. Things like La Negra, La Bamba, and here we're going to hear one of my favorite songs off this record now. So that's it for today, guys. I just wanted to share these records because I think that even if you're on a budget, or you feel like I've heard it all, there's nothing else for me to hear within the specific genres that I like to listen to. If you go to any urban center or somewhere like the Bay Area and you just look in dollar bins, you're going to find some amazing records. And if you're open to just saying, I'm going to take that record home, I don't know what it is, I'm going to give it a listen, you're probably going to find some pretty awesome things. So until next time.